Thank you so much again, Congressman Lewis, for being here with me today and taking the time to speak with me. And I first wanted to congratulate you on the National Book Award you won last year for March, Book 3, The Graphic Illustration of the Civil Rights Movement.
Well, thank you very much. It was wonderful to be honored by people from all over America, for fellow writers and scholars.
It's a wonderful book, especially for children or for younger people.
Well, many young people are reading the books, Book 1, Book 2, Book 3, and they've been translated into French, Italian, and Spanish.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. So I want to get started by talking just a little bit about the March on Washington. At the March on Washington in 1963, you stated one man, one vote, or one person, one vote. At that time, we are well aware now of your fight, your lifetime work for civil rights and the value of the vote. But at that time, were you thinking about the impact of the right to vote for housing, for transportation, for clean air, for safety on the job? Were you thinking about environmental matters and how that would play out with the right and equality for African Americans and communities of color to vote as well?
Well, back in 1963, I was 23 years old. I had grown up in rural Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery, on a farm. And I saw with my own eyes how people of color lived. I saw places where people didn't have the necessary water, sewer system. And as I traveled and worked in the civil rights movement, I saw situations where people have been left out and left behind, that it was not safe, it was not healthy. And I've always wanted to do something about it. So when I came to Congress, Al Gore, who was the senator from the state of Tennessee, was talking about environmental justice. And he introduced a piece of legislation on the Senate side, and I introduced a piece on the House side. And over the years since then, I've been saying we have a right to know what is in the food we eat, or what is in the water we drink, and what is in the air we breathe. And this little piece of real estate that we call Earth, it's not ours to waste, but to leave it a little cleaner and a little more greener and a little more peaceful for generation yet unborn. It's not ours to mess up. It's not ours to abuse.
At that time, with that being said, did you think that using the tool, the voting tool, using that tool to vote would rectify environmental burdens at that time in the 60s?
I truly believe in the 60s, long before I came to Congress, that the vote was the necessary tool, the necessary instrument. And I said back then, and I continue to say it even today, that the vote is precious. It is almost sacred. It is the most powerful instrument or tool that we have in a democratic society, and we should use it. People, my own mother, my own father, my grandparents, my uncles and aunts, my school teachers were denied the right to vote. And I kept saying to myself, and others kept saying it also, there must be something good about the vote. There must be something powerful about the vote. Why do people try to keep us from having it? And I saw people being arrested and being jailed, and we were beaten on that bridge in Selma when we were trying to dramatize the need for the vote, that we had to fight for it, we had to stand up for it. We had to be willing to die for it, to help free and liberate the people and make things better for people. And so when we got the vote in small towns and rural communities, people did something about the sewer system. They did something about paving the dirt roads and things are better. We may not be all the way there yet, but when people say nothing has changed, I feel like saying, come and walk in my shoes. In places in Alabama, in Mississippi, when we would be working, there was open ditches and little children playing in muddy water. It didn't make sense. It was not healthy. It was not good for people.